everyone, I'm Sushi Roll from TwoTentsDown.com. Today I want to talk to you about how to budget for your Appalachian Trail Thru-Hike. I'm going to break the budget down into 4 sections. Section 1, pre-trail costs. Section 2, on-trail costs. Section 3, home costs. And Section 4, optional add-ons. So the totals of these costs are going to be averages. I estimated the lowest and the highest that you'd spend on each item for the trail, and I tried to find an average so that this can be beneficial to someone who's trying to really save money or someone who will just, spend as much as they want. For the full budget breakdown with all the details, you can go to my blog post on TwoTentsDown.com called Budgeting Your Appalachian Trail Thru-Hike. Section 1, pre-trail costs. What I mean by pre-trail costs is everything that you're going to spend money on before you even step foot on the trail. Most of this section is going to be gear that you buy for the trail. I've estimated a total of $2,500 for pre-trail costs, and the biggest thing that you'll be spending money on your pre-trail costs is going to be your big 3 gear. Your big 3 is your tent, your sleeping system, and your pack. I'd plan for at least $1,000 in this section, as you could be spending anywhere between $400 and $700 on your tent alone. You could be spending almost another $1,000 on your clothing, between your regular hiking clothes, your protective clothing like your down jacket and your fleece and your rain jacket and all of that, your hats and things. And then on your boots or your trail runners, you could be spending up to $1,000. I've estimated that you'll probably spend around $200 between your kitchen, toiletries, first aid, and your water system. There's a lot of things that are involved in this section as well, but the biggest thing that you'd be spending money on is probably your stove and your water filter. What's left in this section are trekking poles and navigational tools. Trekking poles could be anywhere between $100 to $200, and your navigational tools are about $75 if you go for gut hooks and the AT guide, which I would really recommend. Section 2, on-trail costs. I've estimated about $4,000 for this, but you could spend anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 for on-trail costs. It just depends on what type of a hiker you are and probably how fast you hike the trail, because of course, the faster you hike, the less money you're going to be spending. So I based my calculations on a 160-day hike at 15 miles per day average with 14 0 days, and 0 days are 0 mile days. Now I didn't include the 14 0 days in the average, but the total number of days would be 160 days that it would take you to hike the trail. So 160 days is about 23 weeks, and I figured in 1 shower and 1 load of laundry per week. Now resupplies I did a bit differently. I kind of averaged about 5 days per resupply, so that would leave you with 32 resupplies. Resupplies are going to be your biggest expense on the trail. I've budgeted for $1,600 just for resupplies alone. Now, some people spend more, some people spend less, but I figured in about $50 per resupply, and like I said, 32 resupplies, and that's going to include food, batteries, hand sanitizer, toiletries, all that kind of stuff. And you do that about every 5 days. Your biggest expense in this section is definitely going to be food. And that would be if you're resupplying in town or if you're getting your boxes shipped to you on the trail. But even if you do mail drops over resupplies, you still are going to be supplementing your food in town because you can't possibly know what you're going to want on the trail at that exact moment when you get your box. So what you prepare ahead of time, you might be sick of some of the things, or you might decide that on the trail that other things sustain you more, or you need to add things to what you've already put in your boxes. This is what happened to me. I ended up supplementing almost every single box with things that I wanted to get in town, like Spam and pepperoni and mayo and tortillas. If you do mail drops instead of in-town resupplies, you'll have to figure in the cost of postage. That would be on top of this cost of just the food. Your second biggest expense on the trail is going to be your in-town indulgences, like eating out, getting ice cream, getting a soda, getting a beer, whatever. And your lodging, because even if you don't plan to do a lot of lodging, a lot of staying in hotels and hostels on trail, you will need to do some because you're going to have to take showers, do your laundry, stuff like that. Most people don't plan to do a lot of hotel staying and hostel staying and eating in town before they get on the trail, but once you get on the trail, you may change your mind, so it's a good idea to plan for more than you expect. And I budgeted for about $1,000 for lodging and in-town indulgences. I was very liberal with my calculations on fuel because you don't want to run out of fuel. So I calculated 1 canister per week of fuel, and that comes out to about $160. Then there's shower and laundry. This shouldn't cost you too much, especially if you're staying in town overnight a lot, because you'll end up getting at least your shower for free included in the price of your lodging. But plan for maybe $200 for showers and laundry, and then if you don't end up spending it on that, you can spend it on something else. I budgeted for about $100 on shuttles or Ubers, Lyft, whatever, Trail Angel tips, donations, that type of thing, because even if you can't hitch in or you can't walk into town, sometimes you're gonna have to get that shuttle. Gear updates are going to be a big expense. Plan for at least $400 for shoes alone. If you wear boots, you're probably going to have to go through like 3 pairs of boots on the trail at least. And if you wear trail runners, you're going to have to go through at least 4 trail runner pairs on the trail. I'd plan for at least $300 for other gear updates on the trail. You don't know what you're going to want on the trail until you're out there. And you also don't know how your gear is going to do as far as wear and tear until you get out there as well. So I've budgeted on my budget here $300 for that, but it could be way higher, it could be way less. Don't forget about travel to and from the trail. But what I mean by travel is your flight, your meals, your lodging. That can really be a big expense if you live far away from the trail. I'd plan for about $600 between to and from travel, lodging, and meals. Section 3, home costs. Now what I mean by this is everything that you would have to pay for back home while you're on the trail. So any bills that you leave behind or things that you have to pay for that don't go away while you're gone. This section will vary hugely based on your situation, but I think that you could spend up to $12,000 on home costs in that 6 months that you're gone. it's likely that you'll get at least some, even all of these costs covered for you while you're gone. So the $12,000 in this section is really more of a maximum than an average. Roar and I were really lucky and really prepared because we managed to get our home costs down really low for the trail. We did this by finding a place for our cats to stay while we were gone that was free, so all we had to pay for them was just their basic pet needs. We were able to store all of our things at my mom's house, so all of our stuff was stored and we didn't have to pay for rent or utilities or a storage unit. And then the other thing that we did was we were able to get our car loan and my college loans deferred during the time that we were gone. Things in this section will include house payments, rent, utilities, car and college loans, boarding your pets, paying for your pet's needs, putting your things in storage while you're gone. Don't forget about money to return home to, because when you come home, you probably aren't going to have a job and you're probably going to be starting from almost square one. So you have to come home to something. Section 4, optional add-ons. Now I said optional, but personally, I don't think these items are optional. I think these are really, really important items that I would really encourage you to budget for, plan for, and include in your trip. The items in this section include health insurance, travel insurance, phone bill, and mail costs. I think every single one of these items are really important. I had personal experience with not having standard health insurance on the trail, and I got really sick on the trail, ended up in the hospital, and I have huge medical bills because of it. I would have been saved by insurance in that situation, and you just don't know what's going to happen. People on the trail, when I was on the trail, rolled their ankles. You know, some people can break bones, get bitten by an animal. And then the easiest ones are your mosquito and tick-borne illnesses, which is what I suffered from on the trail. It may seem like a no-brainer to bring a cell phone on the trail, but some people try to not bring one just to avoid the cost of having to pay for that monthly while they're on the trail. But just for safety alone, it just is a really good idea to have a cell phone. Personally, again, I ended up having to call 911 while I was on the trail, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have a cell phone. Mail costs. Even if you don't plan to do mail drops on the trail, you still want to set aside some money for sending gear home or requesting gear from home to be sent to you on the trail. That's your Appalachian Trail Thru-Hike budget. Go to the blog post, Budgeting Your Appalachian Trail Thru-Hike, at my blog, www.twotentsdown.com. I'll link it below. You can get all your budget breakdown on there, details and all that. And I even put in there some PDFs of the blank cost charts so that you can print them out and fill them in with your own needs and try to line those up to what the cost that I put in, and just to give you somewhere to start. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them below, or questions. I will respond. If you like the video, please like it. Also, if you want more videos like this, click subscribe. I'm Sushi Roll from twotentsdown.com.